I'm remembering the days, for I went away, way back in the hills of old Vermont. And the orchard on the hill, I think I see it still, way back in the hills of old Vermont. For tonight I long to be where the catamount run free and the rattlesnake can lie out in the sun, near the voices of the loons when the apple blossoms bloom, way back in the hills of old Vermont. There used to be a barn near the old fishing pond, way back in the hills of old Vermont. So many fields of hay, now gone with yesterday, way back in the hills of old Vermont. For tonight I long to be where the catamount run free and the rattlesnake can lie out in the sun, near the voices of the loons when the apple blossoms bloom, way back in the hills of old Vermont. Well, everything has changed, nothing stays the same, way back in the hills of old Vermont. Like the old brown panther's roar, you won't hear that no more, way back in the hills of old Vermont. For tonight I long to be where the catamount run free and the rattlesnake can lie out in the sun, near the voices of the loons when the apple blossoms bloom, way back in the hills of old Vermont. But when the rains came down and flooded many towns, way back in the hills of old Vermont, all the neighbors lent a hand for the loving of the land, way back in the hills of old Vermont. For tonight I long to be where the catamount run free and the rattlesnake can lie out in the sun, near the voices of the loons when the apple blossoms bloom, way back in the hills of old Vermont. Hi, this is Rik Palieri right here in the hills of old Vermont, and I'm hoping that you can hear me here. I'm not sure. Yeah, Mariana's saying sounding good. Take care of yourself, Jamie. All right, Jamie, I miss you. I know everybody had a great time down in Arizona at the Glendale Folk Festival. And of course, I couldn't be there, especially this year, because as you can see, my hand is still in the sling here. But I don't have to have it in the sling all the time anymore. It's more of, it keeps me from being silly. It keeps me from doing too many things with my hand. Right there, Truffles? Yeah, I know. You've been warning me about that. I know. So here we are, and I thought it would be fun to try to play a little bit of something. I can play on the ukulele, I tried to play something on the. I have a small guitar, uh, uh, and that has a really small neck on it. I tried to do that. I can't do that yet. It's not there yet. Can't play the F chord at all. You know, and even this is a little bit tricky. I know that folks at home, yeah, know that, you know. So what happened to me was my rotator cuff went kaput, and that's where I had to have the surgery. And I'm going through the physical therapy, and it hurts like hell, folks. Uh, but I think I'm making some progress. I can do a lot more things than I used to. And one of the reasons I thought it was, I'm going to take off this harmonica rack, I think here. Okay, there. And I thought it was a good thing to do this show today because a lot of things going on. As you can see, I'm wearing this is my Ernest Tubb Record Shop t-shirt, WSM Midnight Jamboree. And, I felt like I wanted to talk a little bit about that because there's just a little bit of news now that the shop that's been operating for over 70 years is going to close down, and that little piece of history of Nashville, Tennessee, will be missed. I maybe there's some people hoping that they can maybe raise some money and figure out a way to keep it going, which I think would be great. But I know it's a big responsibility, so I'm hoping for the best. But I thought I'd read you a little story from my book about Nashville. I got luckily I got a chance to play the Midnight Jamboree with my friend George Hamilton the fifth, and George invited me, and there's a bunch of us, Rob McNorlin and Robert Carroll and Nina Ritchie at the time, and oh gosh, a whole bunch of people, and we got to play that, and that was really a special thing to be on the Midnight Jamboree, because so many wonderful performers have played there. It's sort of like was the thing that a lot of times right after the Grand Ole Opry, a lot of the people who played there would go meander over to Ernest Tubbs record shop and play the Midnight Jamboree. And over the years, it's been harder and harder to maintain that tradition. And Dick McCormick, I think that's his name. Yeah, he really tried to keep things going for as long as he could. And I thought that I'd read you. This is not necessarily about that, but it is about what it's like in Nashville. Especially, I've been going to Nashville. The first time that I went, I was out doing those school tours, and back in the early 1990s. And I had a weekend. I think I was in Illinois, and I made a mad dash down to Nashville and back. And I spent the day over at the old Country Music Hall of Fame. It was in a different location. It was closer to where Hank Williams, that little house was, over near Music Row. And now it's in a different spot. It's a huge place. I had a chance to play there many times too, which I've been really honored to do that. But this writing is from probably at the time, right after I stopped doing those school tours, and I was just traveling around the country playing at different places. And so it's called Nashville. After 4 days of nonstop partying at the Folk Alliance in the hotel, it was time to jump back into Old Apache. That's my camper, the truck camper, and continue on my tour. I was in for another day of hard traveling before I would hit Nashville, Tennessee. It was late already, so I started looking for a place to park my rig for the night. I was so tired that I missed the truck stop I was heading for, and I had to keep driving as I looked for somewhere, anywhere that I could park. Now it was way past midnight, and I was still looking. Then a fog started coming through. My eyes were so damn tired that I just knew I had to get off the road before they started to close. I knew that there was a rest stop ahead, but just my luck. It was closed for repairs, so I had to keep on driving. Now it was about 2 a.m. I had been on the road since 5 the previous morning, and I was starting to drift. Just then, a sign said there was a truck stop just 20 miles ahead. I pushed myself to make the next exit, where I gratefully bedded down for the night. It was my second day of travel, and I was out like a light. After a few more days, I got back into the rhythm of the road. And once I get the swing of it, I can drive on forever. This was written when I was a lot younger. I woke up in the big 76 truck stop, about 20 miles from downtown Nashville. I had been coming to Nashville for a number of years to play at the legendary Bluebird Cafe, which gained its renown from a film called A Thing Called Love, which told the stories of singer-songwriters who flocked to Nashville hoping to hit it big. The cafe itself is on the edge of the city, across from a little mall. It runs shows every night, but it is the open mic, the songwriters' nights, that they both attract the big mobs. On one open mic night, long before the doors open, a long line of guitar-toting hopefuls stretched out into the parking lot. Once inside, you could find yourself a comfortable room lined with photos of all the stars who have graced the stage. Over the stage of the cafes is the trademark, a glowing neon light depicting a bluebird in flight. One time I was there, and it was really crazy. I'm waiting in line, right? And there's these two guys, and they were dressed in these leather jackets, and they had these beat up guitars, and they had their car, and it had the name of a band with soap written on the back window. You could tell that these guys were in for some experience, I guess. And that night I was helping out a little bit over there, helping run the soundboard, and I'm watching this thing take place. And these two guys, they come onto the stage, right? And they turn their back to the audience. And so nobody knew what was going to happen. And they turn around and they start playing. And they were just terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. And then they took their guitars and they started smashing them on the stage. And I mean, that the guitar wood was flying all over the stage, and everybody was ducking from all the wood that was coming out of the guitars. That was a crazy night. So, you never know what you're going to get. And when you go to the Bluebird Cafe open mic, the seats fill up fast, and everyone shares tables. This really works out well because you can meet other songwriters and cheer them on during their performances. The night really begins when the stage host signs everyone in. You have to write your name on a card that gets tossed into a basket, after which the stage manager draws out the names and assigns them a slot to sing one or two songs. The spots fill up fast, and there's usually more people than time to play, so there are typically a few who never make it to the stage. When the show starts, the room fills right to the brim. You never know who's going to be in the audience. Many of the talent scouts from Music Row often come to check out the new acts. There is a story about a well-known singer who played at the Bluebird when he was just starting out. He was the last person to perform that night, and there was only one person left in the room when he sang. Even though he had an audience of one, he still sang with all his heart and gave them a stunning performance. That one person turned out to be someone from the record industry, And that night, he signed the performer to a recording contract. Stories like that keep people coming from all over the world to give it their best shot at the Bluebird. The club serves as a training ground for all sorts of musicians. After you go in a few rounds to the open mics, you can qualify a spot on the songwriter night, where a few performers are selected to do a 15-minute set showcasing their work. After that, you have a chance of being selected of the best songwriters. When the songwriters work through all these levels, it gives them a real chance to hone their writing skills. I hung my hat in Nashville for a few days, exchanging ideas with some local songwriters. I learned that there are fewer opportunities today for songwriters to get a chance to pitch their song to established recording artists. And a shot at making an actual living as a songwriter is pretty slim these days. It's not like it used to be, one old veteran writer told me. You know, a few years ago, when a top artist was cutting a new disc, there were about 10 cuts that went out to about 2,500 plus Nashville songwriting artists, from the community. Today, the producers are co-writers, and the artists now, we're lucky if we get a crack at 2 cuts per CD, when the artist and the producer taking the rest. Another problem here is airplay. If you're not in your 20s anymore, it's hard to get airplay. You would not believe how many popular artists who had some major hits are on their way out. As the songwriters went on and on about the hardships of Nashville, I drifted back to the hopeful faces of the young singers and saw at the Bluebird who still believed in their Nashville dreams. That's it in Nashville. A lot of people have dreams of making it big. They go there, and to be honest, there's so many talented people in Nashville that the guy who's pumping the gas, he's a better songwriter or guitar player than you are. But it's still quite an experience to go there. And so, thinking about Ernest Tubbs' record shop, it makes me kind of sad to think that that piece of history might soon be gone. But there's a lot of things that I've been thinking of, and I'm sure that you have, that are a lot more serious than a record shop closing, and that's of course is about the war in Ukraine. And every day you turn on the radio or the TV, and you listen to the stories about families being broken up, about the fathers staying behind, about the children sometimes even being sent out on their own, over to neighboring Poland or Hungary or some of the other countries that are taking in so many of the refugees. And my hearts go out to all of those people, and we don't know what's going to happen. We're hoping for the best, and I don't have any healing words. I mean, this whole live stream was really trying to be about hope. We started during the pandemic, which that hopefully is sort of on its way out, and we can do a lot more things. We can go around and meet with our friends again, and many of the musicians hopefully are out there right now booking gigs for the summer, where we can play again, and that's what it's all about. And if my luck gets any better, my hand should heal in time for me to be able to do some shows this summer too. And that's what I'm hoping. But I really do hope that that this war comes to some end, and people can live in peace again. It's so scary every time that you keep hearing of what's going on. I can't really do too much, to be honest with you right now. I can play just a little bit. So you have to excuse me for that. Next time I'll even play more. And so I'm just going to sing an old song with this. If you like the ukulele lady, ukulele lady like you. If you like to linger where it's shady in the tricky wicky wacky woo. If you kiss the ukulele lady and you promise ever to be true, and she sees another ukulele lady fooling round with you, maybe she'll sigh, maybe not, maybe she'll cry, yes, maybe not, maybe she'll find somebody else by and by to sing to when it's cool and shady in the tricky wicky wacky woo. If you like the ukulele lady, the ukulele lady like you. If you like the ukulele lady, the ukulele lady like you. If you like to linger where it's shady in the tricky wicky wacky woo. If you kiss the ukulele lady and you promise ever to be true, and she sees another ukulele lady fooling round with you, maybe she'll cry an awful lot, maybe she'll sigh, but maybe not, maybe she'll find somebody else by and by to sing to when it's cool and shady in the tricky wicky wacky woo. If you like the ukulele lady, the ukulele lady like you, the ukulele lady like you, the ukulele lady. And I'm playing it on, this is a kind of cool ukulele, or ukulele, and this is a kamaka from Hawaii, and it's one of the oldest ukulele makers, you know, and this is made in this pineapple shape, as you can see. And I remember reading about the idea early on. One of the things that they used to do is they used to hire a lot of folks who had handicaps, and it was easier for them to make this kind of an ukulele because you didn't have to bend the sides. And they also, some of the different handicapped folks had better sense of sensation of heat. They could feel the vibration in the wood, and so that was really great to have those folks involved. And you know, Kamaka is still making ukuleles, and made out of koa wood, and it has such a pretty sound to it. You can hear it. Now, you know, anybody who's never played ukulele, you know, yeah, here I am in a sling, and you know, I'm able to get these chords because a lot of them are pretty simple. There's the C, just one finger, 3rd fret. You see that? Just put your finger down on that 3rd fret, hit it. All right, and then you have your F, which is pretty simple on the ukulele. You have the one finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and one here on the 4th string, the high string, and then the G7th. And with that, you can sing lots of different songs, you know. One of my favorites that I sing with Mariana. Down in the valley so low, late in the evening, hear the wind blow, hear the wind blow, dear, hear the wind blow. Send it by mail. Send it in care of the Birmingham jail. Birmingham jail. Birmingham jail. Send it in care of the Birmingham jail. If you don't love me, love who you please. Throw your arms round me. Give my heart ease. Give my heart ease, love. Give my heart ease. Throw your arms around me. Give my heart ease. Roses love sunshine. Violets love dew. Angels in heaven know I love you. Know I love you, dear. Know I love you. Angels in heaven know I love you. Build me a castle 40 feet high, so I can see her as she rides by. As she rides by, dear. As she rides by, so I can see her as she rides by. Down in the valley, valley so low, and your head over, hear the wind blow. Right, Truffles? I know you probably wanted to sing along, but I can't do it today. Is that okay? All right. Yeah, so folks, like I said, my hand isn't quite there yet. I'm feeling a little bit of pain as I'm doing this, so I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. And I hope to see you all again next week right here on Songs and Stories for Hard-Hitting Times. And I hope that that you will make sure that you do something that you can try to support the folks in Ukraine as we struggle to get these rough times. And until next week, this is Rik Palieri right here in the hills of Old Vermont with the only instrument that I can sort of play right now, the ukulele. Wishing you to have a great week, and I'll see you next weekend. All right? Bye-bye.